Welcome to another episode of the Black Wealth Experience. And we're talking about today a whole bunch of really cool things that you can add to your portfolio, or the things that you need to do with your home once you get your home, or you already have a home and you want to make some upgrades and some appliances. And it's a company called Block Power, and Emily's going to talk to us about that in a second. But first, I wanted to just kind of remind you, we are having a Black Wealth Housing Summit on June 19th. It's going to be at Cross Purpose, which is on the corner of Colorado and Martin Luther King. There's an AME church on the corner. If you're familiar with Colorado, it's been a staple forever. You probably know exactly where it is, but they share the parking lot, Cross Purpose does. And we're going to give you dinner. And there's pretty much 5 things that we want to make sure that's going to happen for you. We want to make sure that you have a real estate agent, because we're talking about home ownership here. So we want to make sure you have a real estate agent. We want to make sure that you have a loan officer that can help you. We want to make sure you have somebody that, if we need to, help you with credit. We want to make sure you have insurance, and we want to make sure that you have, a financial advisor. And then we're going to couple in even some more things, and that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today, or just some other things as you're looking at a house that you can say, wait a minute, I'm not going to worry about maybe that stove or that microwave or something like that, because you're going to, there's a program that's out there that's going to allow you to maybe get some of those things that are there. And so I've said this at every single show. Whose mortgage are you paying? Because if you are paying around $2,000 a month in rent, and you do that for 12 months, you're now giving a landlord or somebody else $24,000. You stay in that same place for 10 years, you've given them $240,000. And I can tell you, 10 years ago, that unit, if it's an apartment, probably didn't cost $240,000. So you've actually paid for that complete unit that you're living in with your money, and it's going to somebody else. And we need that to stop. We need you to be able to get into your own home. And then once you get into your own home, we need you to stay in your own home. And we need to be able to talk about some of the upgrades. Because one of the things that people do sometimes, and this is a reason that I've heard as why somebody doesn't want to purchase a house. They don't think about the investment strategy or the wealth generation strategy or the personal wealth strategy, because, that is the home ownership is the number one way to start generating personal wealth and generational wealth. But some of the fears are, well, what if something happens? What if my water heater breaks? I live in my apartment now, and my water heater breaks, and the landlord comes over and they fix it. I'm promising you right now that you are paying for that water heater. Whatever that amount of rent that you're paying, that you've been paying month after month after month, you're paying for that water heater. Or what if the appliance goes out, or they'll fix that? How am I going to afford that? And there's all these kinds of programs that are out there that can help you, but we need to educate you about that. So I need you. It's on June 19th. It's from 5:30 to 7:30. And it's going to be at Cross Purpose, and so I need you to there. So with that said, I have Emily here today, and she's going to tell you so much really cool stuff about Block Power and their programs and what they do. And so I don't want to take up a whole bunch of my time talking. I'm going to let Emily please introduce yourself, how to get in contact with you, and then maybe start a little bit about your story, and we'll just go from there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here and super excited about the summit and everything that you're doing. I think that's awesome. So my name is Emily Baker. I am the Denver program manager for Block Power. We are a climate justice company focused on electrification and improving indoor air quality by replacing gas appliances, specifically heating and cooling, water heaters, and gas stoves with electric appliances that will hopefully save you some money, but even more importantly, improve the air quality and your quality of life within the home. If you're looking to reach me specifically, you can reach me at 720-252-5866. You can also email me at emily@blockpower.io, and Block Power is spelled BLOCPOWER. Our just generic website, if you want to learn a little bit more, is blockpower.io.
All right, cool. So tell us a little bit about how you got it. So it's gas appliance being switched with electric, which is a lot of our heating systems. So the microwave's not going to help you unless somebody's got a gas microwave that I don't know about. But I can remember, and then I'll let you get into your story. A few years ago, when I was working in homeless services, and I was working with UC Health, and we were doing a study where we were going to some of the folks that were, either on the verge of homelessness or had been homelessness, and they were renting some of the hotels that were along that corridor on Colfax. And what I didn't realize, and maybe you can help me understand how bad it was during that corridor, they talked about how bad the air quality was, and that these kids were growing up and going to school, and they were living in situations, whether it was lead paint on the walls or whether it was these appliances that weren't working right. But we have some kind of cloud or some kind of like corridor where our quality here in Colorado is really bad. Am I missing that? Am I correct? Is it, I remember that's what the study was, and I think that's what you guys are doing, trying to help it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think there's many different factors there, right? Especially
Mm-hmm.
on the Colfax corridor, you can attribute a lot of that to traffic and transportation.
Mm-hmm.
What our focus is on is the impact of gas appliances and greenhouse gases on indoor air quality. And actually, transportation aside, roughly 40% of Denver's greenhouse gases are contributed by multifamily and commercial buildings.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, yeah, and so there, we all obviously immediately think of driving our cars as
Mhm.
having an impact on pollution and air quality, but probably don't think quite as much about the impact of simply swapping out your appliances and
Yeah.
how much that can help.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you for that, because this is all education for me, and I want to make sure, I got some gas appliances and stuff in here too. I have my gas furnace. I have we do have a gas stove. I do have electric cars and solar panels, so we are doing better on the transportation side of it. But at the same time, why not get rid of everything that's harming not only my future, but my kids and my grandkids' future. The go ahead and tell us like why you got into this. What prompted you to to do this kind of work, because it's so important.
Totally. So I am a Denver native. I've lived here my whole life. I went to East High School. I taught in
Ranger,
North
huh?
Denver. Hey, low, low, hey.
I love it. I went to Shade Creek, so I can't really say that, but had lots of
Um,
fun for me. So
it's okay. We can still get along.
yes, we can still talk. I love it. Okay.
Yeah, so I taught in North Denver too, not in Denver public schools, but at a school called St. Elizabeth's, and realized how passionate I was about just mission-driven work that was having an impact on the future, whether that's on kids' futures or the entire world's future. Um, I ended up getting into real estate, and I've been in real estate for going on a decade at this point in time and part-time capacities in different ways. And real estate is what led me to Block Power. And so, I sold houses, I did HOA management, but always wanted to be involved in something that, like I said, was having a bigger impact on the world, making some kind of a difference. And when I found out about the mission of Block Power, what it was doing and its expansion to Denver, I realized we could bring this awesome impact to Denver City, and I might be able to have some influence in that.
Oh, that's cool. And so you get in, you're doing the real estate, you get into this thing. And so what are the type of things, that you feel or that you see happens in the community when you're able to kind of help them with some of the things that are so important to, the health of the family, and just, even maybe the aesthetic appearance of some of the things that are going in their houses. What is that like to be able to be in this space, to be able to do that?
Totally. I mean, one of the most like simple and practical things is that rates of asthma are significantly higher in low to moderate income communities and in communities of color. And a lot of that is because of these appliances, these gas appliances, specifically gas stoves.
Mm-hmm.
This probably is a good time to bring up our founder, Donnell Baird, who his story is very relevant to this. So Donnell grew up in in the Bronx in New York City, in a neighborhood called Bed-Stuy. And one thing that was really prevalent in his childhood was specifically in the winter, people's windows are open because the way they were actually heating their apartment was by using those gas stoves, which had a huge impact on the air quality in the home and therefore asthma rates in the neighborhoods. And he became really passionate about trying to change that. So he was actually in the Obama administration,
Okay.
and was trying to affect that change within the government. And then he realized that maybe having his own company would be a better way to affect that change. And so he founded Block Power.
Mm-hmm.
And through Block Power, he's actually able to, go back to those memories from his childhood and try to make a difference in those communities. And so I think bringing that to Denver and bringing it back to what you asked, the simplest thing that we're able to help with and feel passionate about changing is this disproportionate impact of indoor air quality on health for people of color and people in low to moderate income communities.
Yeah, it's so amazing that you don't know what you don't know, right? Because I can remember, mom in, some of the places, or grandma, and they would literally just take the boiler portion at the end of the gas stove and open that up, and that's how we would heat the area, as if it was more expensive than the propane or the gas or whatever we were having that would control the heater. But it seemed like, well, we're just heating a little bit of space. And I can even remember doing that when my kids were little, like, yeah, we just need to heat up the kitchen. So we just turn on this oven and stove, not having a clue. And, I've been a track coach now for 36 years, and I can say that the amount of kids that have asthma right now compared to when I started coaching is astronomical.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everybody's got an inhaler now. And I don't even remember when I started what an inhaler was.
Yeah.
And I was in some of those really bad, like when I went to college in LA, and there was times we couldn't see the mountains that were right next to us because
Mm-hmm.
of the air quality, but not realizing how this all perpetuates itself. So I'm so excited that you guys are doing this. What are some things that, like, a person that is like me, who is ignorant to the situation, can do to think about Block Power, or to, when we think about these low to moderate income families that may only have gas appliances? What is the first steps, or what do we do to move this along in this space?
Totally. Two simple things come to mind. The first one is an indoor air quality assessment. So this is something that we're hoping to mobilize pretty soon here in Denver and be able to offer at no cost to folks. And we can come out with the equipment, do an air quality assessment in your home, and see what the baseline is, and what can be done to improve it. And a shameless plug. Other thing number two, go to blockpower.io, fill out your information, and you can start to get the process started on what it might look like to use our services to replace some of those appliances in your home.
Gotcha. So when somebody replaces the appliance, is some of them, based on their income and they have to pay a certain amount, or is it just you guys do it? How does that work? Like, what should somebody think they need to have in order to get some of these things replaced?
Great question. We all know that home improvements are not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically when you're replacing those huge appliances like a furnace or a boiler or a water heater. So one of the things that Block Power does everywhere is we have a zero down financing product.
Okay.
So we offer a 15-year capital lease, which means the lien through the lease is not on your home. We don't want to have an impact on your home. It's on the equipment itself. At the end of that lease, you own it outright. And during the lease, we cover operations and maintenance.
Okay.
In addition to that, we're really fortunate in Denver because we do have this partnership with the city of Denver through the Healthy Homes program,
Okay.
which is really focused on improving indoor air quality. And they gave us very generous incentives to help offset that upfront cost anyways. So we were able to help, offset that cost with a lot of these incentives. And then if that price is still too high, we still have that zero down financing product to cover it.
Oh, cool. So we have this, summit coming up for the Black Wealth Housing Summit, and the whole goal is to get people into home ownership. And so one of the things that I was thinking with Block Power is as, like, I have the client right now who is looking for a home, and she has a special needs daughter that's in the house that has some respiratory issues and that kind of stuff as well. So she has really been looking at, as I look at the home, I want to get a ranch style house, so we're not going up and down stairs. And then I'm looking at some of the appliances, and I'm really worried about the heater and the, as the inspection comes, and maybe the water heater. And so, for somebody who's getting a house and worried about those kinds of things, Would it be okay, I guess, to say those aren't the most important things to worry about because we have Block Power IO that can help us after we get the house come in and maybe change some of these things out? Would that be fair to say that that would be a good way of looking at it?
That is absolutely fair to say. I love that you brought that up. That came up with in a conversation with a realtor earlier today, who
Okay.
who said, if I have a client and we're coming across an issue with the inspection related to these appliances, could I potentially think or know that we don't have to worry about that? We can close on the home and then be able to reach out to y'all to replace those appliances. Um, yeah, I think it's important to note that Block Power ourselves, specific to the Healthy Homes program, we work on multifamily buildings,
Okay.
but we do have a counterpart called Energy Outreach Colorado, and they can do the same thing with the same incentives in single family homes in Denver. And you can get connected with them by reaching out to us. So if you did go to Block Power and didn't remember Energy Outreach Colorado, for example, still go to that same website and it'll direct you to Energy Outreach Colorado,
Oh, cool.
regardless of where you live.
Oh, that's so cool. The other thing I'm thinking of is, so we're having this on June 17th, and it's from 5:30 to 7:30. Do my plug here, and you need to be there. But I'm assuming that I know that probably everybody who's going to show up has a grandma or a grandpa or an auntie or an uncle, whether living in single family or multifamily. That maybe it'll be a benefit to the program. I'm going to, that next week I'm going to do a Zoom meeting for seniors that's just going to talk about wealth transference. And so getting this information out is going to be super important. And so, even if you're saying, well, I don't have a home right now and I want to get a home and I don't really have a need for this, somebody who does, right? There's somebody in your family that you're probably visiting that you go to their home or you go to their multifamily, house, and you go, wait a minute, these are all gas appliances, and this is only a 700 square foot place. This could be affecting my family. I need to get a hold of Block Power IO, right? So I guess as I'm saying that, is there a lot of like referral type things that seem to happen once you go to somebody's house that they're going, wait a minute, I know somebody else who might need this?
Absolutely. I mean, we know that from real estate, right? The power of word of mouth marketing is the biggest power.
Yeah, it is. It is. It so much is. But yeah, it's just I'm just thinking of all the people. I'm thinking about my mom,
Yeah,
who has, that may, has a gas stove, or I know she has a gas water heater. I know that she has a gas furnace. I know that those are, when she's getting into, almost 80 years old. I can't imagine that it affects seniors less than it affects kids or people. I mean, is that something that's important if you do have seniors that are living, amongst you, that it's, or that, loved ones, that this is an important issue to really look at?
absolutely. People who are, have weakened immune systems certainly would be really important to think about with improving indoor air quality and replacing those appliances, just like with other ways to help improve health.
Gotcha. So, and this is a question that comes up when people, are looking, and, we have all these beautiful stainless steel appliances that are in homes and that kind of stuff. And they will, yeah, I don't know how people look at their water heater or their furnace, but, at least in the kitchen area, the appliances and things that you switch out and you help with, these aren't like low budget, $12, we got them at the thrift store, type appliances that you have, and kind of talk about what gets switched out and the quality that you guys have.
Totally. No, that's a great question. Obviously, we're not, digging used appliances out of something to give to you.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
brand new, high quality, and this is the newest technology in these electric heat pumps that we're bringing to y'all. So, the three, bread and butter pieces of the program. We've talked a little bit about stoves. If you have a gas stove, we can help you replace that with an induction stove. Which is fully electric and obviously much healthier in
Mm-hmm.
your home. We can replace gas powered water heaters with heat pump water heaters. And then we'd be replacing your gas powered furnace with a heat pump system. You might also have heard of it referred to as mini splits. So these systems, rather than being powered by gas, first of all, They're electric, but it's also a more efficient technology than your traditional furnace. So rather than creating heat, which even if it's electric, uses more electricity, it moves heat from inside to outside through the system. So it's more efficient. You see them all over the place in Europe and Central and South America. Um, I personally have what would be called a hybrid system. So I have heat pumps, but they're a little bit older, so they're not the cold climate heat pumps. They can't go down as far in temperature to heat my house in the winter. I just use them for cooling in the summer. And then I have my gas furnace to heat my house in the winter. And my energy bill between summer when I'm just cooling my house with the heat pumps versus winter when I'm using the gas furnace is a third of what my winter energy bill is.
Okay, that's good to know because that was my next question. Are these appliances more efficient? Now, on the water heater, did you say are they the tankless ones, or there's some kind of hybrid of them, or you know that I've heard that these the tankless systems that they're putting in for heating water is way more efficient. But I'm not sure what you guys are using. I mean, I don't know how much you know about them, but how does the water heater work as far as is that helping with energy cost as well?
Yeah, so I don't actually 100% know if it's tankless or not.
Okay.
It is the same heat pump technology, though.
Okay.
Rather than generating heat, it's moving heat around to
Okay.
warm it and be more efficient.
Oh, neat. That's really cool. So it's a lower price. It's a better product. It helps you out. So why would somebody not want to, switch out these appliances to be more healthy? What would be a reason that somebody comes up with?
I think the biggest reason that people face is the upfront cost, just
Okay.
like with any home
Mhm.
project. And that's why we're fortunate enough to have these incentives to help offset it. And
Okay.
I should say my own energy savings are fantastic. I'm very excited about them, but we can't guarantee
Of
energy
course. Yeah.
savings. But that's my personal experience with the products. But yeah, I mean, I think just like with most things, cost is the biggest hurdle for people, and that's where we come in with these incentives and with the zero down financing.
Absolutely. It's kind of like my solar panels that, it's raining right now and nobody can guarantee me the sun's going to come out for so many hours a day, right? It's just, that later on and throughout the process that it's going to probably be a really, really cool deal. All right.
Totally.
Well, and I can think of one reason why somebody would say I don't want to get rid of, and it's probably not a really good reason, is like on a stove. I only like to cook on gas because I'm used to cooking gas, and gas cooks better, and that type of stuff. And when I go to the restaurant and I get the best things, they're cooked on gas stoves and that kind of stuff. So I don't know if that's something. If you guys offer any classes on how to cook on electric instead of gas, or if there's a way we could find that for people who are just freaking out about throwing their tortilla on the gas and letting it, flipping it over. You have to put in a pan, right, on an electric stove. Is there anything like that you know of or heard of people that's the complaint, or have you even heard that complaint before?
I have absolutely heard that complaint. I mean, coming from back when I was still a realtor selling houses, how many times did I have people wanting to buy new construction who were like, I need a gas stove, not an electric
Mm-hmm.
stove. But I love that idea of electric stove cooking classes. I'm going to write that one down for us to look
Yeah,
into providing.
because I'm sure you really can't tell that much of a difference when you start eating it. So if it's for the chef that's having trouble, regulating heat and that kind of stuff, I bet there's some really cool things that are probably already out there that could help somebody. So
Totally.
cool. Well, Emily, I have so enjoyed you being here. I want you to make sure that you tell everybody how to get a hold of you again, what that website is again, and then also go into any other things that you want to impart on our folks as we get ready for this summit that's coming up on the 19th. But yeah, please just tell us how to get a hold of you and stuff again.
Absolutely. Yeah. So just as a reminder, we're Block Power. So the
Mhm.
website is blockpower.io, BLOCPOWER.io. Through that website, you can also reach our counterpart, Energy Outreach Colorado. Great folks over there. They do the single family side of this Healthy Homes project, which is run through the Climate Action, Sustainability, and Resiliency Department in the government of the city of Denver. My specific contact information, Emily at blockpower.io. You can reach me at 720-252-5866. And obviously what we're doing here is climate justice. So we're trying to eliminate greenhouse gases, affect change in the environment, but also on a very practical level, improve indoor air quality and overall health in low to moderate income communities.
Well, Emily, you are amazing. Thank you for doing the work that you're doing. I hope we can get the word out even more. If somebody from you, either you or somebody from Block Power O, can come to our summit on the 17th, and then just be able to hand out stuff so people have even more awareness. And then maybe let's get you some clients. Let's get you some people that we can really make a difference and change. And it's just been fun being on here with you. We'll ask you to come back. Hopefully, maybe we can maybe next time have somebody that you've actually done a client swap with and kind of tell their story. What it was like before you did it, what it was like after you did it, or somebody that we have maybe moving into a new home that was worried about a bad water heater, or bad furnaces. And we were able to get the good stuff in there that we're able to help them. So thank you so much for being on this podcast today, and we will get it out there. And it's been fun and wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's awesome that you're doing this. Podcasts are such a great way to reach people now. And actually, before I forget, there was one other component that I almost forgot to mention. We do a workforce program as well.
Okay.
So we have a very successful one called our Civilian Climate Corps in New York City and New Jersey, where we work with people who are formerly incarcerated or people who have been impacted by gun violence. We train them in HVAC specifically to work with these products.
Nice.
And install them, and then help them find and keep jobs in this trade. And we will be establishing a workforce here in Denver as well, through our contract with the city of Denver. So hopefully later this year, start of next year, we'll be able to start working on that.
That is so cool. So not only can you get your appliance changed, but you can actually be able to maybe get a job that can help you be able to purchase a home if you're not ready to at this fed. And then where we're having Cross Purpose does a lot of work with HVAC stuff too. So maybe there is a good synergy there that can work with some of the stuff that you guys are doing. So that is amazing. Cool. Thank you for not forgetting to share that. And so we'll have that at the end. And so we'll look forward to talking to you soon. I know I'll see you, in the streets and where we go all around. But for everybody else, please get a hold of Emily and find out more information. So you guys all have a wonderful, awesome, awestruck, incredible day. You guys are amazing. Thanks for being on today. Well, thank you for tuning into our podcast today. It has been a fantastic opportunity for us to show you exactly what we're trying to do in the community. And that is to help people to make sure that they have the ability to realize home ownership. And so my name is Brian Arnold. I am a lender. I'm with City First Financial. And so if you have questions, I'm not doing this podcast so that we can, rush all the business over to City First Financial. I'm doing this podcast so that we can make sure that you are taken care of, that you have a real estate agent, that you have a loan officer, that you have a credit repair person, that you have an insurance person, that you have a financial advisor, all working with you towards making your home ownership realization happen. We're also going to be talking about, wealth generation and what it means to pass on to the next generation. I do trusts and wills and making sure that the money that you've accumulated during your lifetime actually passes on to the next generation without going through a thing called probate. And so we want to make sure that we have some unique different things that we may have talked about on this thing that can help you think about what that's going to look like. So thank you again for communicating. Go ahead and subscribe to these YouTube channels, whether it's on YouTube that you're watching the video, or if you are just listening to this on a podcast, that you are subscribing to the podcast, because we are going to have some amazing guests that are coming on and some amazing content. So thank you for the blackwealthexperience.org and getting on that and just coming in and listening to us and then taking advantage of the resources that we're hopefully and education that we're hopefully giving to you. So you have a wonderful, awesome, incredible, awestruck day. You are God's greatest gift, and I want to make sure that you know that. Talk with you guys soon.